Shadows over Hawthorne. Episode 6. The Silent Witness. Previously in Shadows over Hawthorne, Detective Elliot Graves uncovered chilling truths about the Order of the Black Veil, an ancient covenant tied to the founding families of Hawthorne. After narrowly escaping the House of the Veil, Elliot pressed forward, determined to unmask the darkness haunting his life. The mysterious figure. The night was cold, and a dense fog hung over Hawthorne's cobblestone streets. Elliot stood at the edge of the town square, staring at the journal clutched in his hand. Its cryptic notes referred to a witness, someone who had seen the Order's rituals firsthand and lived to tell the tale. But the journal offered no name, only a location: the old foundry. As he approached the building, faint footsteps echoed behind him. Elliot spun around, gun drawn. The street was empty, but he could feel it. A presence, silent and watchful, lingering in the shadows. His fingers tightened around the handle of his revolver. "You're wasting your time," a voice whispered from the fog. Elliot turned sharply, but the figure vanished. Only a faint red ribbon swayed from a nearby lamppost. With a grim resolve, Elliot continued toward the foundry. The witness speaks. The old foundry loomed like a ghost, its crumbling walls barely holding together. Inside, the air was damp and heavy, the only sound the slow drip of water from a rusted pipe. Elliot's lantern cast flickering shadows across the room. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice echoing through the cavernous space. From the darkness, a frail figure emerged, a man with hollow cheeks and darting eyes. He clutched a walking stick with one hand, while the other gripped a small, battered notebook. "They said you'd come," the man croaked, his voice trembling. Elliot approached cautiously. "Who are you?" "Someone who saw too much," the man replied. "I was a boy when they brought me to the chapel. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I hid in the rafters. I saw everything." Elliot's heart pounded. "You saw the Order?" The man nodded. "Their rituals, the sacrifices, the Veiled One. It's real, and it sees us all." He thrust the notebook into Elliot's hands. "It's all in there. The symbols, the chants, the faces of the ones who lead them. But you won't stop them, Detective. They're not afraid of you. They want you to keep looking." The veiled warning. As Elliot flipped through the notebook, the man's voice grew frantic. "Do you know why they call it the Veiled One? Because it hides behind faces, shadows, whispers. You think you're chasing them, but they're always one step ahead." A sudden crash echoed through the foundry. Elliot drew his revolver, scanning the darkness. "What was that?" "They know you're here," the man whispered, trembling. "They don't like witnesses." The sound of footsteps grew louder, closing in from every direction. Elliot grabbed the man's arm. "We need to leave. Now." But the man shook his head. "It's too late for me. Just go. Take the notebook and run." Before Elliot could protest, the man shoved him toward the exit. "Run!" The chase Elliot bolted out of the foundry, the notebook tucked under his arm. The fog seemed to grow thicker, swallowing the narrow streets as he ran. Behind him, the sound of footsteps echoed. Too many to count, too close for comfort. He turned a corner and ducked into an alley, his breath coming in sharp gasps. Peering out, he saw them. Shadowy figures, their faces obscured by dark hoods, moving through the fog like phantoms. Elliot tightened his grip on his revolver. He had seen enough to know that bullets wouldn't stop them. But he wasn't ready to die. Not yet. The witness's fate. The next morning, Elliot returned to the foundry, hoping to find the man alive. But the room was empty, save for a single red silk ribbon lying where the man had stood. Elliot's chest tightened as he realized the truth. The order had silenced their witness. Clenching his fists, Elliot opened the notebook. Its pages were filled with symbols, sketches, and a single phrase repeated over and over. "The Veiled One feeds on those who seek the truth." Elliot's resolve hardened. The order had taken everything from him, his fiancée, his peace, and now the only witness who could have helped him stop them. But they hadn't won. Not yet. Cliffhanger. That night, Elliot sat in his dimly lit flat, the notebook spread open on his desk. As he studied the sketches, a faint knock came at the door. His heart raced as he reached for his revolver. "Who's there?" he called out. Silence. Elliot approached the door cautiously, his gun raised. When he opened it, the hallway was empty, except for a single red ribbon tied to the doorknob, its ends fluttering in an unseen breeze. Tucked beneath it was a card, bearing only 2 words: "Keep going." To be continued.